Hey everyone, this is Rob Stanley with Feedback Wiz, and welcome back again to the Ecom Wiz podcast. Today, my special guest is Jason Kumpf from OFX. Thanks for coming on, Jason.
Thanks, Rob, for having me. Thanks to Feedback. You guys are a great group. Love working with you guys. So I'm with OFX Global Payments, and we're a $100 billion publicly listed company, and we help individuals and companies send money or receive money globally at better foreign exchange rates, usually saving you about 1% to 5%. We can get into some case studies of how we specifically help Amazon sellers. Further on, I think you guys are going to really appreciate a good boost to your profit margins with a company like OFX.
Yeah, so let's jump right into it. I mean, everybody who sells on Amazon, they're always looking for a way to save any money they can. Any margin is, margin in their pocket. So a lot of Amazon sellers, they source their items from China. So let's go straight into talking about that. If they're sourcing their items from China, what do they need to do to maybe save some money while they're paying their supplier?
Right. Obviously, paying Chinese suppliers is a hot topic right now. So there's a couple different ways that you can use OFX really simply and easily to help you do that. So if you're paying dollars to Chinese suppliers, which a lot of Amazon sellers are, from the US, from Canada, from Europe, from anywhere, you're sending those, $1,000, $2,000, $100,000, $1 million at a time. Usually your bank will be charging you a wire fee of $40 to, we've seen up towards of $100. So we'll do those transactions for about $20, $20 to $25. So that's instant, easy savings on all your US payments. And the process is super simple. It takes a few minutes to register with OFX. It's free to register. And then you're using our transaction platform, either on your smartphone, your mobile app, it's super easy, or over the phone 24/7 with one of our help desk people, or on obviously on your desktop. And importantly, if you are paying local currency, renminbi or Chinese yen, into the country, you could experience a 10%, about 10% decrease in your costs, because the devaluation of the local currency there against the dollar over the last year has been quite tremendous. And we're noticing a lot of groups that used to be sending $10,000 at a time are now only having to send $9,000, $9,400 each transaction. So they're saving $1,000, $600 on each transaction, because their supplier is still getting the same amount in their local currency back in China. So we're seeing a big increase in that. Yeah. People really like that, and we can help you do that. It's really simple and really easy with OFX.
Yeah, so it sounds like anybody who's selling on Amazon and they're using Chinese suppliers, they may want to go to their supplier and ask them, if I pay you in the local currency, will I get a discount? Yeah. And ask for it, because it sounds like a lot of them will. I mean, I've sold on Amazon and eBay, and I source from China a lot also. Right. So obviously this is before knowing you, so I didn't get a chance to use your guys' service. But I have had in the past where they asked if I could pay local currency, and of course I didn't have the option to do that. Yeah. So it came back a little more expensive. And sometimes it's just because of the fees too, with the bank fees.
100%.
Yeah. So it sounds like we, just go sign up with OFX. You're creating an account, I assume. You got to put some information in there. And then you can choose whether you pay local currency or pay US dollars, depending on what they want.
100%. And you can have maybe, like, if you've got 3 or 4 suppliers or 100 suppliers, you can choose these people receive dollars, and these people receive local currency. And not just to China. We're seeing now groups that have moved over to Vietnam or India. And there again, most of the time you're sending local currency. So Vietnam Dong or Indian rupee to those countries respectively. And we'll give you better foreign exchange rates than your bank would either. So if you're using your bank now, you're paying transaction fees, those $40 or $100 fees each time, that will reduce or completely remove. And then the foreign exchange will improve by 1% to 5% on your foreign exchange rate. So significant savings. If you figure that you're doing, let's say $100,000 a month, a day, a year, you're looking at about $2,500 in savings, either a month, a day, or a year, right to your bottom line.
Yeah.
So that can increase your margins dramatically.
And that's before even That's even before negotiating with the supplier to maybe save even more by paying them in their local currency.
Exactly.
So that's instant savings. So let's do a scenario. Let's step through kind of a scenario. I'm an Amazon seller. I'm in the US. I'm now selling in Canada, let's say.
Yeah.
And I've got money piling up in my Canadian Amazon account.
Right.
And I want to transfer that from my Amazon Canada account to my Amazon US account so I can get it in my bank.
Yep.
So let's go through kind of the steps of what you guys do, how they would go about, basically saving that money, and where is that saving so they understand it.
Yeah, sure. If you don't mind, I'm just going to change. We can obviously do this for Canada. We can do this for any country. Canada, UK, Germany, France, all over Amazon.
Absolutely.
What we find is most Americans are selling to the UK as their first international market.
Okay.
Some to Canada, but just because UK is a bigger market.
Let's go with Canada, or let's go with the UK
they'll
then.
do that. So, and it's a little bit more foreign. I think
Sure.
Canada is so close, but it's all the same. So what we do is, again, you register for an account. That's free to do that. And we give you a pound account. We can give you a pound account, a euro account, a Canadian dollar account, Hong Kong dollar account, Aussie dollar account, and Singapore dollar account.
Wow.
All right off the bat. There's no cost for you to do that. And you just upload those accounts into your Amazon platforms, respective platforms. So you'd up that into, let's say if you're only doing pounds in the beginning, you would upload that into the amazon.co.uk account. And any monies you receive would go from pounds from the Amazon pound account to your new XYZ superiPhonecases.com account with OFX. So there's no transaction cost there. And then you can pay out that taxes with that. You can pay suppliers with that. You can pay out a bunch of pound transactions there. And you can even pay, let's say if you're working in the UK, but you're paying a German, ad agency or something, you could pay from your pound account to that German agency there as well. So you can use that new pound account for a lot of different reasons.
Yeah.
But the predominant one is to receive that money back. So Amazon charges you 3.5%. So if you've got 100,000 pounds in that account and you hit receive the money, or it's your 2 weeks, they're taking $3,500 pounds right off the top of that before they bring it over. So then you receive the equivalent of $96,500 in your US dollar account.
Yeah.
With us, you could receive, we'll charge you less than 1% if you're doing volume, less than 0.5%. So you'd receive $99,000.
Yeah.
So you'd receive an extra $2,500 right away.
So so just to be clear, one of the things we're talking about not paying suppliers in the UK, or we're talking about when you're dealing Amazon to Amazon, you could go from Amazon to your OFX bank account, let's call it.
Yes.
And you could turn around and pay your suppliers or pay people that you owe money to. But then you could also bring it into your local currency account, or in this case, it'd be US dollars. Yes. And like you were mentioning, Amazon basically is charging around 3%ish, 3.5%. And OFX is currently charging like 1% or less, let's say. Yeah. So when I set up a new account with you guys, I'm brand new. I set up an account with OFX. Is there any limitations? Like, can I immediately start doing $100,000 or?
Yeah.
So
we've got guys doing $100,000 a day.
Wow.
Day one. So it takes the paperwork stuff. It can take you 15 minutes or 20 minutes to get it up and running on OFX, and then your account's open usually the next day. Worst case, 2 days. And so you have your new virtual bank accounts.
Yeah.
So they're full bank account numbers. You can't go to a bank and get cash from it, but for all intents and purposes, it's a very usable virtual bank account. And they're from major banks. So it's from Barclays, Deutsche Bank, Bank of America. So we're one of the few groups that has access to these major groups that allows us to offer our clients real global bank accounts from major global groups.
Yes. So let's go on, touch on that a little bit more. OFX, if people haven't heard about you or heard about the company, let's talk a little bit about like why they should be trusting you, how long you guys have been around. Sure. Yeah. Maybe give them a little details on, hey, you guys, this isn't your first time around and you haven't been here for a couple of weeks. You've been around a long time. So
we've been around 20 years. We're publicly traded. We've got offices around the world: San Francisco, Toronto, London, Sydney is our headquarters, Hong Kong, and Singapore. And we're opening up more every year. We've got 24/7 support. All of our support is in-house. So you can call 3 a.m. New York time, 5 a.m. San Francisco time, and someone will pick up the phone that's in-house from one of our offices and be able to help you with a transaction. that you may need help with. For instance, some people want to do forwards right now. The Brexit is affecting a lot of our clients because the pound is actually going up right now. It was going down before. And so maybe people want to lock in the rate because they feel the pound may come back down sometime soon. Or if you feel it's going to go up, you could lock in a US dollar pound rate. And that can save you, like it went up almost 10%. So there's a massive savings over the last few days that we've locked in people's rates and saved them, not the whole 10%, but let's say 8% based on those transactions and you can do that online, but we recommend having a call and you want to speak to someone before doing a forward transaction if you want to get into that. And that's another way to hedge your business and increase your margins and bring more stability to your Amazon business, which I feel a lot of people want to do.
Yeah. And we keep talking about Amazon, but let's also, what other areas can you guys help? Obviously, if I own my own website, as long as if I have suppliers outside the US, there's always that way to help. But what other areas have you guys maybe touched on, just in case somebody listening maybe has other ventures out there?
Yeah, sure. If you're doing any international transaction, whether you're receiving funds internationally from international either marketplaces like an Amazon, eBay, if you've got a Square store or anything else, any other platform, any other merchant platform you're using to receive funds, you can upload your OFX bank account in that currency. So if you're doing that in the pounds in the UK, if you're doing the German euros or the CAD in Canada, and we'll save you, all those platforms charge you 2.5+% usually. So we're saving you at least 1.5% to 2.5% for literally 20 minutes of your work. So it's a real great no-brainer. And then the other side is that if you're paying suppliers around the world, we save you in all those transactions, all those wires. We give you a better foreign exchange rate. We reduce those fees that your bank charges you. So it's really a no-brainer. There's no costs. So it's really a no-brainer, no upfront costs. We take a smaller margin. So it's a great no-brainer process to increase your margins. It's really easy to use. Like I said, a couple of minutes to set up. We've got friendly help. We've got 24/7 staff. It's really easy to do. People love us.
That sounds easy.
20 years. So we haven't been around 3 years or 4 years. 20 years, lots of experience doing this. You'll see the platform or tech stack is one of the best in the industry. Our personal service is fantastic. They're very used to dealing with Amazon sellers, small businesses, high net worth individuals, all kinds of people.
So that sounds great because that's kind of the now, but obviously if they started 20 years ago, how'd they get started? Like,
sure, yeah.
How did OFX get started? Obviously it wasn't doing what we're doing now because 20 years ago that wasn't around.
Yeah, so it was a great story. It was started by two Australians, and they were working in Singapore, and they were on the FX desk of a major bank, and they were sending money back to Australia. And at that time, banks were charging 10% on the foreign exchange margin. And when they send the money back, they saw the rates they were getting, and they called the bank to complain, saying, listen, the rate didn't even hit this all day long. How are you charging me this much money? And they said, well, that's your rate because you're only sending 2,000, Aussie dollars or 3,000 Aussie dollars. It's like, I work at the bank. This is crazy. And they just told them to, that's the best they could do. And that's, take a hike. So they decided to make they made a little blog and they made a little platform. So very much a startup kind of Silicon Valley style thing on the beaches of Australia, a little small shop. And then they got investments from Macquarie Group, which is like kind of the Goldman Sachs of Australia. And then we got funding from Excel Partners and Carlyle Group, which is one of the largest private equity groups and largest VC firms in the world, and been growing since. And it's just been great, and it's been really easy. And they've had this very Australian kind of ethos of everything you imagine, like great, fun people that want to give a fair deal, and make it kind of simple for you. So it's great working there, and it's great. Our clients love that too, so you'll call in, you'll get a lot of Aussies around the world that work for us. You'll get an Aussie accent when you come in.
Awesome.
And it's really, really awesome. We really believe just giving a fair, honest deal to our clients. And I think they all appreciate that. We don't do a lot of gimmicks and stuff like that. So it's just straight, easy. And, it's one thing to check off your list. You're saving money, move on, get into back into making your main business work. And that's it. And we're a good partner. We're a nice partner to have. Right?
Yeah. So before you went to OFX, what did you do, Jason? What kind of brought you into, where'd you start and what brought you into the OFX world?
Sure. So I had a long history. My last couple of roles being a consultant, and then I was in a Bitcoin transaction company a couple of years ago. It was a competitor to Coinbase. And so I knew the international blockchain, sending money around the world. And then OFX was kind of our next door neighbor. And I was talking with those guys there and went over there. And was one of the first people at the U.S. office almost 7 years ago. And
Wow.
been there since then. So, I've been there a long time. So it shows something too, that, it's a really great place for everyone. And our clients stay a long time. We've got clients that have been there 15 years plus. That's amazing, right?
Yeah.
And great reviews from them. And we're growing. We're launching new currencies and new countries all the time, and new platforms and new products. So this banking account product is going to be available for non-Amazon sellers too. So if you just have a normal, like I said, normal bank account or normal business that you just need to receive money from groups abroad, you can get an OFX virtual bank account all over the world, so they can send you that money, and it's domestic for them. So it's a lot easier. They don't have to worry about sending you dollars. They can send you pounds, euros, Canadian dollars, etc. So it's
so it sounds like OFX isn't just for e-commerce. It's going to be for just basically transferring money.
Yeah, so any transfer of money. So we've got a lot of individual people that are, and we notice a lot of the Amazon sellers, they do this business to have a mobile kind of nomad lifestyle.
Yeah.
And they end up, living around the world. And while they're doing that, they can also use OFX to send money back maybe to their kid's school or pay a mortgage or other things like that.
Nice.
It's the same platform. So it's a very easy platform to use. And I think that's the biggest thing too, is we keep it nice and simple. So it's not an overwhelming experience. It's super easy. Like I said, it's a few minutes to register. Someone will walk you through the process. That takes another 5 minutes. 15, 20 minutes, and you're pretty much set up. It's great.
That's awesome. Yeah. So obviously I'll put a link in the bottom.
Yeah.
If anybody, I think it's OFX.com, if I'm not mistaken.
OFX.com and /feedback-wiz, and you get a discount when you do that. So I highly recommend doing that. Tell them you heard about it from Feedback-Wiz, and we love the Feedback-Wiz group, and give them and their listeners a special value add deal. So be sure to say that.
And if anybody's in any trade shows, you guys usually have a booth at most of the big trade shows.
Come up, say hello. We've always got special parties and stuff that we throw too. So come up and ask about that.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
We love meeting our clients and speaking with them and hearing how great they're doing too.
That's awesome. Well, Jason, thanks for coming. Actually, Jason came to the office, just in case you didn't know. He's actually at the Feedback-Wiz office. Yeah. So thanks for coming down. I really appreciate it. And thanks for sharing with everybody what OFX does and how they can save money.
Thanks, Robbie. Yeah, appreciate it, man.
And just real quick, this is actually our last podcast for 2019. So again, special thank you to Jason for being on our last podcast for 2019. Yeah. We got a great 2020 coming up, and I'm sure we'll get you back on in 2020.
Awesome, yeah.
When you have the new features coming up. Yeah. So, but thanks all the listeners out there. Really appreciate it. And once again, Rob Stanley, co-host of EcomWiz Podcast, and my special guest, Jason.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks. Have a good one.
Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and for more information, please visit feedbackwiz.com.